20 inches of snow. That's on the London Underground, without air conditioning, in July. It was around that time that the doctor himself started showing an interest. He'd initially dismissed reports out of hand. At least, until he started detecting strange energy emissions across Greater London. And while I don't pretend to have understood the finer scientific details, the doctor seemed to think there could be something in it, especially when those energy spikes occurred at the same times and locations as our weather anomalies. Then one day, it became serious. Half of Hyde Park froze over in a matter of minutes. No word of warning, half the people there dead. It was a Saturday afternoon. I remember being with the brigadier when we first examined the scene. It was my first exposure to anything on that scale. And to this day, I've no idea how we managed to keep it quiet, or even if we should have, because it was just so horrific, so horrible. But at the same time, if I'm honest, I was fascinated by it. We arrived about midday. The park had been closed off half an hour or so by then, the sun still beating down across the grass. But it didn't melt the ice, not for a long time. Instead, its beams simply bounced between the frozen bodies, every which way, threatening to blind us, they were so bright. Such a brilliant white light, an almost heavenly glare. We had to peer between the gaps of our fingers, catching just slight snatches of the death that surrounded us. And yet, in spite of all that, it was strangely beautiful, truly. As the brigadier and I stepped down from the jeep, we felt the crunch of frost beneath our feet, the delicate crackle of ice stalking us wherever we trod. The entire park was covered. Then we spoke. I remember our breath, how it collided with the bitter air around us both. Clouds of vapour forming, thick and pale before my face. Little clouds of life, spiralling out in front of me. On a beautiful summer's day. Then I found myself wandering round these frozen corpses. It was like a snapshot of everyday life, captured in a single instant. They were cold to the touch, lost to the world around them, forever. But they didn't feel real. I remember that. It was as if they'd never been alive. All these people, families out picnicking, children licking at ice creams, even people queuing for buses on the streets. Everyone and everything frozen in death. Down on the Serpentine, swimmers had been caught mid-stroke. Its waves, frozen perfectly as the waters crashed together, splashing, rising into the air, just an inch or so. Then, further out, there was a man doing backstroke. He'd stopped moments before hitting a woman doing the crawl behind him. A single arm stretching into the air above, as though gesturing for someone, anyone, to help. I stepped curiously out onto the lake. Slowly at first, but the ice was thick, solid. And as I walked across, I saw dozens of people, everyone fixed, unnaturally still. Swimmers, paddlers, parents, children, boyfriends, girlfriends, you name them. Everyone a different stroke, but each the same fate. Elsewhere, I came across the shattered remains of a collie down on Rotten Row, a frisbee, clenched tight between its teeth. It must have been jumping for the disc when the freeze hit the park before falling, splintering itself into fragments as it met the ground. Man's best friend. But the saddest sight by far was